Well, hello, Planning Posse people. Flora Sage here, and this is another bonus interview for all of you fabulous people. And this month, I'm so blessed and honored to introduce you to Dr. Valerie Baker. Welcome, Dr. Valerie. Yay!
Thank you. Thank you so much, Flora. So excited to be here.
Well, so excited to have you. So why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and who you serve?
I'm a psychologist and yoga teacher by training. I serve women entrepreneurs. I help them create the business and life they love by reprogramming their mind body for success.
Nice. Oh, that's so needed. I love it.
I think so.
Yeah. Well, and so it sounds like you have a lot on your plate. So why don't you tell us about your experiences that you've had in the past with planning and what you've tried and really what your experiences have been with really just exploring planning and how it can serve you?
So a great question. I think the first time I started discovering the need to plan for success, although I didn't have that language then, was back in high school or maybe early in college when the stakes kept getting bigger, right? A lot began to hinge on my performance. And what I realized is that I had anxiety. I had really deep anxiety every time the higher the stakes were, the more that anxiety manifested. I would raise my hand in class, and all of a sudden I would be flustered, and the words would all get jumbled in my mind. I would get hot and cold and almost fainted. And I didn't understand that. I didn't even understand that that was anxiety. I knew that I knew the material. I wanted to share that, but the higher the stakes were getting, the more of that response I had. And it wasn't until I began to really study both psychology and just my experience as a woman, really, and as a woman entrepreneur when I got on that path, I realized that as women entrepreneurs, we are living this courageous life on the edge of what our body-mind conditioning perceives as danger. As this precipice, right?
Yeah.
Of the abyss of danger. And that has an evolutionary background. It has never been safe for a woman to be successful. If we think about it for a moment, it has never been safe for a woman to be visible.
Yeah.
Has never been safe for a woman to speak her truth, to show up, to be up on stage. I mean, think about witch burnings.
Right.
That's in our collective DNA. Think about what's going on the political arena now. It is still not safe. Women are still ridiculed. The moment a woman shows up in her glory, the haters come out. And there's this unhealthy competition between women. And as women, we are communal creatures. For us, it's extremely important to be accepted and connected with our sisters.
Yes.
So I began to see that this is a huge reason why women hold themselves back from reaching their goals that they might have planned for, right? And they may be like... Every woman entrepreneur I know is completely brilliant and an expert at what she does. But then we approach this precipice of putting ourselves out there, and that anxiety comes up. And that anxiety is nothing but our nervous system signaling to us, this is dangerous. You're going to die. Because when you put yourself out there, and if the tribe rejects you, you're going to die. Because outside of tribe, right, we perish. And this is so deeply embodied. This is on the level of the DNA, the mind-body conditioning, completely subconscious. So on the conscious level, we may experience procrastination. We may experience some other form of self-sabotage. Like, well, maybe I'm not going to go after this opportunity. I'm not ready yet. Next year, I'll be ready, right? But I'm not ready now. But it's really that anxiety. And that's when it really began gelling for me, that the tools I've been developing over the years of blending psychology, biology, and spirituality to help undo that mind-body conditioning and help success to be a safe place
Nice.
for women, right? And so that we experience it as safe, and we help our sisters experience it as safe, because all this competition between women is also artificial. It's also based on that conditioning, the oppression that we've experienced for so long. So if I feel that my success is not safe and I hold myself back from being out there, every time I see you shining brightly, I'm going to have either one of the two reactions. I'm either going to be like fangirling all over you, like, oh, Flora, she's so amazing, I can never be like her, completely pedestaling you, right? And that creates this gap. I can never be like her. Or I'll be like, who does she think she is? She, right? She doesn't know anything, but she puts herself out. That only means that I've disowned my own greatness, right? If anybody notices that kind of a reaction, that's where it stems from. It just needs healing. And so when you ask me about my planning is really my daily discipline. Because it takes daily practice to plan for success. And I can tell you a story of how it came to play recently, when I had a great opportunity to be on a big stage, and how that planning system actually worked out in my life. If you want
yes, please,
to hear
please.
the actual...
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you. So it gives me a chance to brag too.
Yay!
I feel bragging is so good for
brag
us as
away.
women, because we've been playing small. Yeah, we've been playing small for so long. I feel proud of all of us. So I've been doing this work of really clarifying my message, tapping into the bigger vision, talking to women I serve. What do you need? What do you need? Okay. So, and it all came together for me. And at the same time, I got this opportunity to speak in New York City at a women's empowerment event in a theater. And the keynote speaker would be Marianne Williamson.
Oh, yay!
So, yeah, when I heard that, I was all like, oh, yeah, amazing. And I didn't even solicit that opportunity. But the thing was, well, there was two things about planning for success that's relevant here. First, I already imagined sharing the stage with her and how wonderful that would be. They interviewed me. They said, oh, you would be perfect. But here's the thing. There are no more main stage spots available. But would you do a breakout session? I said, sure. And then I followed up with an email. I'm so grateful. This is amazing. But if anybody drops out at the last moment from main stage, I'm your girl. I'm ready.
Nice.
And that takes planning, right? My planning has been, I've been coming into clarity. I've been really working on becoming this clear channel so that I know my message, right? And I like that shit stuff, conditioning, everything, like getting that out of the way so that, right, I can show up fully. So lo and behold, a week and 2 days before the event, I get a message. A main stage spot opened up. I thought of you. Are you in? Yes, I'm in. And so then my planning kicked into the next gear, because here's the kicker. I didn't have a talk.
Oh.
I didn't have a talk. I had a message, but I didn't have a talk. And because I like to deliver as much value. If I have an opportunity, I want to really deliver. So I had this idea. I want to have a printed book, and I didn't have a book.
Oh.
So a week and 2 days. So, and how did I use these days? For the first 3 or 4 days, all I did was breathing practices that I teach that come from yoga and work directly on biology, right? Rewiring that nervous system so I can feel safe and be a clearer channel. Visualizations, self-hypnosis, and other practices that help me really ground and become a clear channel. I didn't work on my talk. I didn't work on my book. And then day 4 or 5, it finally, I downloaded the whole book. Well, I had the meat of it, the exercises, because they come from the program I teach. But the front and the back, and all came together. I got on the phone with my friend who is in publishing. She's, can I publish my book in 2 days? She's like, well, if anybody can, you probably can. So here are my contacts on Fiverr. This guy will do a layout for you. This is where that you can get it printed. So I was driving into the city on the phone with the printing shop, and they were unloading the book into the hotel.
Nice.
That was happening. Yeah. And that's just, I mean, that's being in the flow, right? That's being fully there. And of course, the talk came through in exactly the same way. And when I went on that stage, I was so in my body. I had no anxiety, right? Thinking back to how in high school and college, I was the girl who would like faint if you looked at me. Like I was like, and then I didn't have any of that. So planning for success, this is what my passion is. I feel that women entrepreneurs, we have to work so much harder than men for so many reasons for success. And one of those reasons, the main one for me, is that success has never been safe for a woman. And it's not a mindset thing. I mean, I can think all the positive thoughts I want, but if my nervous system goes into overdrive, before going on stage, just positive thinking will not snap me out of that. Right. And when we focus too much on that, then there's also this guilt. Oh, I'm doing everything I can. I'm doing everything right. I'm saying affirmations. And still it's not working out for me. What's wrong with me? And we definitely don't want to reinforce that for ourselves. Like, what's wrong with me paradigm. Right. Doesn't serve us. Yeah. And also as women, we don't have role models, if we think about that, in business and success. Like, none of us can probably say, my great-grandmother built a business empire from scratch. Right? It's funny, right? Right. Think about what my grandmother was up to, my great-grandmother. Although they were amazing, wonderful, strong, brilliant women, but they weren't allowed to play that game. So there is so much that in this generation we are creating for ourselves. We are the role models for those who come after us or alongside us. But it takes a lot of planning to surround yourself with brilliant women who are also committed to each other's success as well as to their own. Right? Women who uplift you, the sisterhood. Planning to have this time for mind, body, spirit practices that keep you in your body, right? Keep you a clear channel and keep you from freaking out every time an opportunity comes knocking. But of course, we don't even sometimes think about freaking out. We're like, no, I'll just deal with that later. I'll answer that email later, or, it's not for me. I'm not ready. So that's how I see planning. Does that make sense, Flora?
It's beautiful. Yes, it's perfect. And I love hearing about what you did as soon as, well, actually how you followed through, how you planned for success. I mean, that's huge. They interviewed you and they said, well, this is what we have, and you're like, cool, but just in case. So you planted that seed of success. You planted that seed, and then it happened. And then you're like, okay, and you didn't freak out. You worked the steps. You allowed yourself to come into your body and fully integrate your spirit into your body. And then you took those needed steps that needed to take place in order for you to have the success that you wanted. And I loved hearing about how when you were in college you did that, because that is exactly how I felt many times. I was like, oh my gosh, I want to raise my hand, and I would raise my hand and my face would get bright red. I thought it was so ridiculous. I'm like, why is this happening? Oh my gosh!
High five! You and I both. Totally, yeah.
Yes. So,
and look at us now.
I know. And so obviously there had to have been something that you did during that time to get from where you were in high school and college to now. So why don't you share with us that pivotal moment that you had that caused you to bridge that gap from where you were to where you are now?
Oh, yeah. Well, the pivotal moment was really hitting the rock bottom. Because those of us who are familiar a little bit with anxiety in their own lives, they may probably be familiar with the flip side, the twin sister of anxiety, which is depression. Yeah. And so when I was 19, I had my first major depressive episode, and it got really bad, and I became suicidal. I couldn't leave my room. I was in the dorm room, and I didn't have my family near. I'm from Russia originally, and that was my exchange year in California. So
Yeah.
I was as far as you could imagine, right, from all my support systems. And so it got really bad, and I figured, well, I need help. I'm not sure where to get it, but I knew there was a counseling center on campus, and I got myself out of bed, and I kind of half walked, half crawled there. And a counselor met with me, and the meeting was so not expected at all. She had this clipboard with questionnaire. She sat away from me as the room allowed, and her face was kind of half covered by the clipboard. She kept asking me questions like, did your parents use drugs and alcohol? Were you sexually molested as a child? I was like, I came to talk to you about what's going on now, and you're asking me these weird questions. And at the end of that, she gave me a card. She said, come back in 2 weeks. And I came out of that meeting, and I stood outside, and the weather was always the same where I was in Riverside, California. So everything looked exactly the same. But I felt this, something was extremely different inside of me. That hope that I had built up, that somebody would come in and save me, some expert, that was gone. I felt so let down. But there was also this emptiness. And in this emptiness, for the first time, I heard my own little voice. And that voice said, well, it's just you, girl. It's you. You're going to save yourself. And that was the pivotal moment. And from that resolve, everything began showing up in my life to show me the path, the right books, the right people. I discovered yoga, really, where therapy could not reach the depths of the anxiety and what I was dealing with. Yoga and spirituality did. And the three in combination that over time created my method, Heart Talk Yoga. I did my dissertation research about transformation, and really, I'm a big nerd. I have to study everything in depth. But this really, over the years, has been working through these wounds, and back to the story that I just shared about this speaking gig. To be completely transparent, so like I admitted this part where when they told me, no, by the way, there are no more spots on main stage. My first reaction was from a wounded place deep inside that was like, I had two reactions. One, anger, like, well, you could have told me from the start, and you could have maybe not wasted my time. Like, who organizes this thing anyway? How disorganized are you? Okay, that was one reaction. The other was I felt hurt. I felt hurt and rejected, and I felt like, okay, I'm just going to close that email, delete it, and pretend it never happened. But all this work I had done over the years, like I knew these parts of myself and that healing, and I just embraced those parts with compassion. I said to them, honey, it's all right. We're just going to breathe through it. And I let another part of myself write that email, the part that could hold it together, the part that was empowered, the part was level-keeled and level-headed. And that's when I said, hey, I loved meeting you. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for considering me. She interviewed 150 people for that. Like, thank you for taking your time. I so appreciate it. I would love to contribute in any way I can. And if something opens up, let me know.
Nice.
So that's the result of like years, right? Overnight success, years in the making. That's the unseen planning and the path of being this girl hoping somebody will come in and an expert will fix her, to working it, having the tools, and just being real about this whole situation.
What a blessing that is. Oh my gosh. I mean, I love hearing your story about how you integrated all this stuff and then how you, part of you was like, what? And then the other part of you was like, oh my gosh, you know? And then you allowed yourself to just kind of find that space within you of peace and harmony. And you're like, no, I'm going to answer it this way. And what a beautiful thing to be able to recognize all of those pieces and let them kind of do their dance, and then not let those less than savory voices come out and say, no, I'm going to find gratitude in this. I'm going to find peace in this.
Yeah.
What a beautiful thing.
Thank you.
So share with us how you created this harmony in your life and in your business, because that's not easy to do always, especially for those of us who have had anxiety and depression. I was diagnosed in 2004 with, well, both actually. And so it's been a challenge learning how to quiet that anxious mind and quiet that wounded self, because it's easy to have it flare up. It's so easy to have it flare up. So share with us how you've created this harmony in your life.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for sharing, Flora. I think the more we speak about the realness of our experience, the more it comes out of the closet and empowers. I've been a therapist for years, first at the master's level and at the PhD level. I think it's completely crazy not to be anxious or depressed in this life that we have now, because we're so right. Our culture completely disconnects us from our truth, and I really see depression and anxiety as symptoms of being disconnected from the truth of who we really are, our authentic selves, right? And trying to make the shoe fit that doesn't fit. This violent, oh no, you got to be that way, but in this way, and eventually even forgetting which way you are, never discovering that. So to me, when somebody comes into me and says, or comes into my office or contacts me virtually and says, well, I'm going through these symptoms, I want to say, well, congratulations. This is a pivotal point for you, because these symptoms are a gateway to really uncover your true gifts. And the way I learned in my journey to uncover them, and I did my research on transformation, I studied people's journeys through hitting the rock bottom to uncovering their authentic selves. And all of them used the tools of my mind, body, and spirit. So in developing my method and really doing it in the lab of my own life, I've been collecting these tools from different traditions, different modalities, and just really creating this treasure box that I can pull on and share with people I work with. But I use them every day myself. Like the inner critic, right? That we all have, because that's how we grew up, people criticizing us, and then it becomes the inner voice. And I find that all these voices need to be first acknowledged and really embraced, because it's not their fault. They're looking out for us, because, again, something is perceived as dangerous, and the inner critic, their role is to protect you. Yeah, so you don't get eaten by whatever, the saber-toothed tiger out there, or rejected by the tribe, or burnt at the stake. And we all have that in our genetic memory. And even not going to past lives, whatever anxieties our mothers had, even carrying us in their wombs, we absorb that as well. So there is a very direct transmission there. So acknowledging those parts, embracing them, and then having some tools to quiet the nervous system. I use breathing a lot, deep breathing, and I use some very simple grounding, like feeling my feet on the floor, engaging the muscles in my legs, sending my breath and that anxious energy into the earth, allowing the earth to absorb that and send me back that calm and quiet. And it's a matter of finding out, trying those on for size and finding out what works for you, because there are so many tools. But what I'm absolutely, from my experience, right, what has worked the best is combining the tools from the mind, body, and spirit. If you leave one of them out, it doesn't work, or it may even backfire.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, well, in my own journey, I've also learned to monitor what triggers my anxiety. And
Yes.
the things that trigger my anxiety are caffeine,
Mm.
alcohol, not enough sleep, and if I haven't eaten. And
Yeah.
those things,
Yeah.
well, and then also when I don't meditate, when I don't do my yoga, when
Mm-hmm.
I don't work out, when I'm not mindful, then I feel my everything start to kind of go out of control, and I'm like, oh no. So yeah, and being mindful of that isn't always easy, especially when you're trying to run a business, and especially when you have deadlines. And of course, most of us create our own deadlines, but it's so easy to let that fall on the wayside when you're in your business and you're planning and you're doing these things. And I love how you explained how you can do these tiny things every day, because those tiny right actions are the ones that matter. And being
Yeah.
able to plan for those successes, and being able to plan success by integrating these things. I'm actually going to go back to your story that you first told us. I love that you said, I had a week and 2 days, and I spent the first 3 days just breathing and getting into my body. That's so beautiful, because so many times, especially when you're going to be on that main stage and you want it to have that printed book, most of us would be in freak out mode, and then all of a sudden, oh my gosh, and then frantically work at things. Well, we all know that when we frantically work at anything, it usually falls apart.
Yeah. It's not our best work.
No, it's not. So I love that you shared how you integrate everything into your life, and then you allowed yourself, and you showed by example. I spent the first 3 days just breathing and being in my body, and allowing myself to just be in this energy. And what a beautiful thing to give yourself the opportunity to do that.
Thank you. I made a lot of mistakes, pulling all-nighters, trying to make it all work intellectually, right from the think box. And so it took a lot of faith to trust that experience and say, I'm gonna trust that there is a greater intelligence working through me, and for
Mm,
me to be in alignment with it, I know I need to get my thinking mind, my anxious mind out of the way.
yes.
And those little practices that I keep mentioning, the breathing, the grounding, they don't even take time out of my day. I'm
Right.
not the type to sit down and meditate for an hour. Not going to happen. Maybe when I'm 90, but I have a feeling maybe I'll be up to, other things too. Like, I find that especially for women, we wear so many hats. We have so many roles. So my
Mhm.
mindfulness is, I have a 6-year-old daughter. When I'm with her, we frolic on the floor. We do yoga together. We do arts and crafts. We giggle. We laugh. We're silly, and that's my mindfulness, and that's my full-bodied engagement, prayer, meditation, all in one. And breathing, I do a lot of breathing when I'm driving. I do a lot of grounding also as I go through my day. When I'm doing the dishes or laundry, I ground myself. I engage different muscle groups. I open my heart. Do all these things without kind of otherwise, I really cannot multitask. I have this kind of a brain that I can either chew gum or walk. But but with
Yes.
these practices, they actually, I find that they enhance whatever I'm doing.
Oh,
Like,
nice.
I could be reading something or writing and doing deep breathing at the same time, and it actually makes it better.
Nice. Perfect. And more focused and more
Yeah.
present. And that's the thing that a lot of people have a challenging time with, actually being present in whatever it is that they're doing, because we're so used to being pulled away from, email notifications and Facebook and YouTube and all these other notifications and phone calls, and just being able to be present and to be right here, right now is such a gift. And I love that
Mm.
you say that, like when you're standing, well, I'm engaging my leg muscles or my foot muscle or whatever. And I love that, because I'm like, oh, that's really good. I'm going to do this.
Yeah, give it a whirl. It's fun. And the reason why we can't really, well, we struggle with being here now.
Hmm.
And I had so many spiritual teachers and books. I had read so much. I've been to so many retreats, and the teachers would all say, "Be here now, be here now," and I would be like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, I'm here now." No, I wasn't. Like it took me so many years to like have that glimpse of that experience, because again, for our nervous system, it's not safe to be here now. There's always something right going on there. And so not being here now is a defense mechanism. So again, the more we work with the nervous system to unwind it and relax it, the more we can be here now and be fully present. And when I'm creating something for my community, I'm working on writing an email or creating new content, I do get in that zone of, I do deep breathing. I get in the here and now, and it helps me also to tap energetically into their space and kind of ask them what they need from me. So it's a heart-to-heart offering. It's a practice of empathy and compassion, and it comes out. It just flows, and it flows from heart to heart. It's not from here. It's not I'm following a template, like this template converts this. Like that never worked for me. Maybe it works for somebody, never worked for me. So
I agree with you. You've got to have it from that heart space.
Yeah. And we're women, right? It's all about relationships for us. And this is our zone of genius. We're so good at building and nurturing relationships. And I feel that we need to allow ourselves different avenues of doing it. And showing up fully, being here now, is one way to really very quickly create that spark with somebody, that rapport.
Oh, absolutely. And I love hearing all the wisdom that you're sharing, because that's something that so many of us who are in business have gone down that rabbit hole of, well, this is what this person is doing, and you buy the template or whatever, and it feels so disconnected. It doesn't feel authentic, and you're like, oh my gosh, what is going on? And I love how you shared that you're just like, no, I get into that space and I breathe, and then I write the copy, I write the email or the sales page or whatever it is, because it really is that heart-to-heart relationship that you have with your clients and your potential clients and just your tribe that is consuming whatever it is that you're producing. And so you have so much wisdom. I absolutely love this. Share with us the biggest lesson that you learned thus far on your journey.
Oh gosh, yeah. As many times as you ask me that, the answer will be different. But what's coming now is to really celebrate the so-called failure.
Yes.
Because it's really it's humbling.
Yes.
And it's so, again, what we perceive as failure is basically the unmet expectation that we created here. That only means that I wasn't fully in the flow. I wasn't fully in the zone. I created something here, and it didn't go exactly by the plan. But whose plan was that? Like, what was I creating anyway? So that's really the biggest lesson, and so humbling every time. And every time I do something not from the place of flow, but from the place of, yeah, this is like a good idea. This is a proven system. This is blah, blah, blah. And I fail at that. That is such a powerful reminder. In your wisdom self, honey, you know better. All business systems, everything you need is really, corny as it may sound, it is in your heart, in that connection to your heart, so that you can connect to other people's hearts.
Yes.
And these are reminders not to fall out of flow. And when you do, get back in there, because that's where the magic happens, and that's where we don't need to work so hard. We work extra hard when we're not in the flow, and we're making it stick and it doesn't. And right?
Yes.
And these all telltale signs like tension here, 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 here. And when we're in the flow, things are easy. So many benefits, right?
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love that you said that, because so many people try to make it harder than it is, and try to make it harder than it has to be. And I love that you said, no, when you're in flow, it's easy. It really, truly is. Oh my gosh, I love it.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
We're running out of time. So why don't you let all of our members know how they can connect with you and your work outside of this interview?
Well, first of all, thank you. I'm so honored to be able to share, and you're such a great and gracious host, welcoming
Thank you.
everything. You asked me great questions. So, if for a woman listening right now, if what we talked about resonated with you, you can find me at my website, drvaleriebaker.com, or email me. I'm at valerie@hearttalkyoga.com, which is the name of my method, Heart Talk Yoga. What I have on an ongoing basis right now is a new baby. We opened doors just a couple of weeks ago, but don't worry, you didn't miss out because we have rolling admission. I am so excited about this. It's a program that combines mastermind group coaching and the sisterhood of success, where we're all committed to each other's success. So, everything that I talked about today, reconditioning the body mind for success, we do it there. We support each other and uplift each other, making success a safe experience, right, between women. Uh, and we learn business tools, but in a way that fit our own unique vision and our unique personality and our unique being. So it's not like take this proven system off the shelf, make it work. No, we make sure it's organic, and so it's called Her Success Space. So if you'd like to hear more, I have an amazing special going on now in the month of March. But even if you're listening to it outside of the month of March, we still have an amazingly low monthly membership rate to join. So just shoot me an email, valerie@hearttalkyoga.com. We'll get on the phone. I'll see if it's the right, we'll both see if it's the right fit, and I'll see how else I can support you in what you're creating in the world. Because as women, I'm very aware everything that I had to overcome in myself and still work on overcoming every day. I'll be happy to share those tools with you. We have to work harder than that. Didn't need to work any harder than we already are working. So whenever we can make it easier, I'm all for it, and I'll be happy to share what I know to make that happen.
Awesome. That sounds perfect. Well, all the links that you have just talked about, plus all your social media, is going to be below this video. So for all of you Planning Posse members, go ahead and click all the links. Connect with Dr. Valerie Baker as soon as you possibly can. Run, not walk, to her website.
I'm waiting for you.
Yes, and check it out. Well, Dr. Valerie Baker, thank you so, so much for coming to today's interview and for taking time out of your fabulous schedule to join us and share with us all of your fabulous wisdom. Oh my gosh, I'm definitely going to be rewatching this and taking notes.
Thank you so much, Flora. It was such a privilege. Thank you for all the work you're doing in the world.
Thank you. All right. Well, to all of you Planning Posse members, thank you so much for watching this month's bonus video. And again, please be sure to click all the links and connect with Dr. Valerie Baker outside of this interview. I'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.